and we get really into the thick of it. In February 6th, that's when we started becoming aware of this crisis of the people, actually those women rights defenders that brought themselves kind of to safety in Pakistan, they were about to be deported. And so that's when we started the petition. That's the petition that most of you signed, and we have been updating you on. And that's also when the outreach actually started to the Dutch authorities, immigration lawyers, and the press. But back then we had we had little to no response, basically. And on February 25, that's when we discovered the Brazilian pathway. And that was Susana from Udara, that's a friend of ours. She said this Brazil would be a really good opportunity for people to go, for Afghan people to go. And that's when we started first reaching out to Panaga, but we didn't get a response then. And on March 17, that was really the pivotal point. I have it still very clearly on in my memory, because that was really the lowest point. We thought no one is listening, no one will start responding to, the heartbreaking humanitarian crisis that was evolving. And that's when we got a call from Liliana. Liliana from Abbas, she's also here on the call. And she and Miguel, we got on a call and basically shared the situation. And they said, you know what? We believe we can help. And back then it was like a godsend, because that was the time when our people started really writing actually farewell letters to their family members. And that then also at that time, our petition started to go through the roof because of the enormous support of Russian women, actually. So the initial wave that really brought up the signatures was actually Russian women, also a sphere that we in Europe actually have very little knowledge of, And there was so much support there. And that was also when we first established contact with Panaga, who is our main partner of receiving people in Brazil. And then on the March 2031, that was really when the crisis started intensifying, because that was when the first deportation deadline passed in in Pakistan. And so we had police razzias and Afghan defamation. So people were evicted from the houses, and they were actually instructed by the Pakistani government that they should not employ Afghan people because it's against their decree. And then also the children stopped going to school. So that was also the time when the press really started first responding. So we had 20 plus press articles by the 31st of March and 500,000 signatures on this petition. But also Avast started a petition, which was, I think by now also it's 500,000. So in total, we are about 1 million signatures on both petitions. On May 20th, we had our first milestone in our pathway. Like, we had the first interviews. 20 of our Afghan women rights defenders went to the Brazilian embassy, 63 people in total. So that means with their family members. And another milestone was May 30, when the first screening interviews for actually safe pathways to Spain and France opening up. And that was when UNHCR Pakistan started collaborating with us. And that's also a very exciting development. So I'm going to switch now to presentation mode, and I hope I don't lose you in the process, because I want to show you the story actually animated. Can you still see my screen? I can't see anything, so if anybody could give me an audible.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. So do you see a map?
Yeah. Yes.
And do you see, okay, so here is the map. So here we have Food for Thought Afghanistan, which is headquartered in the United States, although both founders are actually currently in Switzerland. So Rebecca and Rashad are currently in Switzerland. And then there's Hard Work, which is us in the Netherlands. And then we have Afghanistan and Pakistan. And the way it went like this, that, Food for Thought Afghanistan established contact to these women rights defenders in Afghanistan and Pakistan. and then reached out to us to ask if we would provide leadership training. Well, that's when we started establishing contact, and that's actually when we had 100 people on this first call for leadership training. And Frank and I, we were really scratching our heads. How about we're going to do this leadership training? Because we were used to groups of 6 to 8. So how do we do a deal with 100 people? So that's also quite a logistical, interesting thing. And then very quickly, the crisis started to evolve, and we said, okay, we need to do something. And that's when Afas came on the picture, and Afas was then the one who opened the connection to Panaga in Brazil. And then we had Nova, who were one of the first bigger donators besides Afas, and Focus Frauen in Switzerland. And this connection goes back to Food for Thought Afghanistan, because the money is used in order to bring people to Brazil and sponsor this 1 year of settlement in advance. And now the latest is UNHCR in Pakistan, who has started to work with us. And with both of those partners, we can bring people safely to Brazil with Panaga. But with UNHCR, we can also bring people now safely to Spain and France. So that is the story of this map. Yeah, these are the active partners of this grassroots alliance that we have formed. Foremost, as a first, of course, who was the first dancer on the dance floor was Food for Thought Afghanistan. And why do I say the first dancer on the dance floor? You probably have seen this video clip about where there's a person at a festival, everybody's sitting, and then there is one person that is dancing. And everybody else is still quite chill and it's not engaging. But there is the second person that comes onto the scene. And with the second person coming to dance, suddenly everybody else starts getting up. And so this is Food for Thought was the first dancer on the dance floor. And then Hard Work Foundation started to come dance with Food for Thought Afghanistan. And then Avas came, and then Panaga came, and now UNHCR Pakistan is also there. Which is actually really quite remarkable. And it shows you that, if you really want to, we can really do this. We don't need governments. We don't need huge organizations. Well, of course, UNHCR is a huge intergovernmental institution, but they are working with us as a partner, not them in the lead. And then here are the donations that we have collected so far. So Avas has been by far the biggest supporter, not only being an active partner, but also being the one who's able to finance this. So $500,000 from Avas. We have Nova, who has given us about $43. It was actually 36,000 euros, so I was trying to do the rough conversion. Focus Frauen, they gave us 180,000 there in Switzerland. And then we actually had one German lady, Mrs. Rössel, who stepped up to the sponsorship and sponsored actually a family for 17,500 together with her friends. So they formed a whole circle, and all of them chipped in to sponsor one of our families. And then the individual donations on the American side were about 33,000. And the individual donations that now have come through our latest outreach through the petition, that I believe most of the people who are here on the call are actually part of, that's when we have almost collected now 15,000 euros. But I'll stop here now.
Auch zu kompliziert auf Englisch, weil
hang on.
Ja, das ist über, wie Sie gesagt haben, von
trying to let's see. Okay, good. There was a lady, I speak German. I'm actually Austrian by nationality. She was just saying, oh, this is so complicated. This is in English, so I don't understand. Anyway, so this is a little bit of a short story about how this came together. And I would really love to give the floor now to Richard and Rebecca, and please go ahead and share something about you.
So I'm Rebecca Trotter,
I'm Ahmad Rashad Atai.
and we're the co-founders of Food for Thought Afghanistan. Rashad runs a school in Kabul. He started it in 2019?
Yeah.
2019, and unfortunately had to leave Afghanistan when the Taliban came back into power, and he can share a little bit if he would like, but he landed in Switzerland, in Geneva, Switzerland, and a mutual friend said maybe you could work together because I come from an activist background. I work with the leaders of not-for-profit organizations around the world that are serving their local communities. And so I've worked on projects with organizations in Bangalore, India, and Faisalabad, Pakistan, Ghana, here in the United States, in Portland, Oregon. And so we started working together. And as we talked, we share a very common philosophy of the people who are impacted by an issue are the people who have the answers to the issue. In a situation such as this, the job of the rest of the world is to empower the people who are actually doing the work, who is actually showing up to serve people when nobody's watching, who's doing more than they need to do. Those are the people that we would like to support and work with. And so we started Food for Thought Afghanistan with the aim of supporting all of these people who, over the last 20 years, there's been massive development inside of Afghanistan. Many people got educations, they began working, they gained expertise. And Afghanistan doesn't necessarily need everybody else to come in and say, oh, here, let us help you, let us teach you. What they really need is for people to come in and say, what do you need? How can we help you? Do what you need to do. So we started with that philosophy. And then in the summer of 2024, we had just started the organization. We had registered. We have a model that we're working on inside of Afghanistan as well, where we're hoping to open offices there this summer. Well, we're planning to open offices there this summer. So in the course of this, Rashad was contacted by people who were stuck in Islamabad, which is the story that you're all familiar with, that there was, this group of people. We started with, I think initially we had 14 files, and we had kind of a profile that we were working with. It was people who had been imprisoned or injured by the Taliban for their human rights work. Now we have some people who were, really escaped with their lives. But we kind of worked with the people who nobody was working with. That's been a very consistent feedback that we've gotten, is they say, inside of Afghanistan, people know who we are. Even one of the women that we work with was the subject of an Amnesty International campaign after spending 6 months in in Taliban custody. And when it's all done, there's nobody to help them. They were just left. Some people were able to get help. People who did not have good connections or who didn't have good language skills were particularly vulnerable to not getting the help that they needed. So we started off, initially we had sent files to the US State Department through one of our board members, a man named Dr. Thomas Johnson, who is an expert in Afghanistan. They did not respond. We continued to advocate. Rashad met with politicians, attended conferences, we wrote letters, we contacted media. Really wasn't until Naja got involved, and then with the petition, that we finally started getting some play. And the whole time I kept saying to Rashad, because of course it's very frustrating that you're reaching out to the people who are supposed to be working on these things, and there's just not help available, or they're not responding to us, or whatever the case may be. And I kept saying, people care about this issue. I know people care about this issue. We just need to keep going, and it will come to us, because there's nobody on the planet who is okay with what is happening in Afghanistan. So I really appreciate everybody stepping forward to help with these women, these rights activists. These are the people who stood up. These are the people whose pictures you've seen and videos you've seen. These are those people, and I believe that by stepping in and giving these people a chance to survive and heal and then carry on their work from a place of having of some stability, of some knowing that they're okay in the world, that is for the benefit of Afghanistan. Food for thought. Afghanistan has a very comprehensive model that we are in the process of executing for these women and for getting good education, good information into this kind of leadership development that Naja and Frank have been providing these women down to the ground level. So this is part of a really big thing. This is kind of like the starting piece of a really big thing that has the chance to impact Afghanistan in a very positive way. So it's the story of these individuals and their families who are valuable just as human beings in their own right, and it's our privilege to be able to help them. But it's also the story of how human beings, just everyday people, come together to help each other when the powers that be in the systems that we have are not doing the job. So that is what I have to say. And I'll give it back. I'm sorry, Rashad, I spoke so long. If you have things you'd like to say.
Thank you, Vika. Hello, everyone. All know me that I'm Ahmad Rashad from Afghanistan, co-founder of Food for Thought Afghanistan. And I'm grateful for what Nadia and Revika said. We are here to support these human rights activists and provide them what we can do. And most of things have been already said. There's nothing more to say about us. So if anyone can ask a question, we are here to give answer.
Well, maybe Rashad, maybe you just give one or two sentences about some of the next steps. So planning for success, assuming that all these beautiful people are brought to a safe place, what will be the next steps to basically support these people in their cause? And you've got some very good ideas about that and some plans.
Exactly. When these human rights activists transit to third countries, we are looking forward to equip them, these women, as ambassadors of peace for today and tomorrow of Afghanistan. And there's a lot of women from Afghanistan that they are abroad. And it's part of our plan that how we can bring them all together in a one platform and make their voice louder and bring them in a one platform. And these women work and come together for Afghanistan, that for the values that is now most of these values are isolated in Afghanistan, and women are completely isolated in Afghanistan. So these women will be a prominent voice for tomorrow, for today and for tomorrow of Afghanistan. And so that's what we want them to increase their social awareness and their advocacy skill, some skills they need to acquire business. I'm sorry, some skills to increase them, and then they can use it and for reconstruction of Afghanistan. That's what we are looking for.
Yeah, the thing I will often say to activists, because of course people are discouraged, they've had to leave everything and chaos and nobody's helping and life is just incredibly difficult. But I said, and there's the issue of brain drain. We've talked to experts on Afghanistan, and they very consistently raise the issue of brain drain as at this time as a very serious issue. And I always say, what if what it takes to finally get a peaceful Afghanistan is for the smartest, most driven, committed people to go out into the world and get the help that they need and do what needs to happen? Like, what if it's just you need to be outside the country to do what needs to be done in order for Afghanistan to begin to solve its problems. And so there are quite a few plans that we have going on. Rashad is actively involved in peace negotiations inside the country involving all parties. We are, what was the other one there's a documentary regarding this whole process that is in the process of being made, that is going to be shown. We're going to be getting that shown this fall, hopefully. Excuse me. And then inside of the country, we are really looking at building a leadership academy, a kind of a school of humanity, So looking at some of these leadership skills, we're probably going to look at child development. That's often a place that there's a little more room for women to be able to work. We have, ongoing discussions regarding, we just talked to someone today about working with getting people trained in midwifery. We're discussing getting ways to get internet connection deeper into the country so that more people can benefit, because there's just, there's a lack of access to people who have the skills to train other people. So that is kind of where we are focusing, is on those people who have the skills to train other people, so that those people can then go down into the community level. What we'd really love to do is to create a TV video. Afghanistan is still dealing with issues of illiteracy. We really can't wait for everybody to learn to read. There are many people who aren't going to learn to read in this lifetime, and they still need, it doesn't mean they're not intelligent. They just need information in ways that are accessible to them. And so that is a project that we're working on. And again, because we're working with people who develop skills and know-how and networks and the capacity to do big things during the last 20 years, that is the route that we're not starting from scratch. We're not having to there's a great deal of work that needs to be done, but there's talent and skill inside of the country, or at least inside of the diaspora, and inside, along with inside of the country. And so we want those to the diaspora. We want to help make sure that is, and when I talk to them, there's nobody who doesn't want to go back to Afghanistan. Literally everybody I talk to is like, I want to go back. And Westerners as well who have been there. Everybody wants to go back to Afghanistan. So that is the ultimate goal, is so that everybody can go back to Afghanistan. But in the meantime, this is what we're doing. We're starting with people have to survive and they have to heal. And we're working on building, we're working on building the systems and structures that are needed so that people have ways to, build lives for themselves and invest in themselves, their communities, the things that are important to them. And yes, and so I think I've hit everything.
Yes.
So again, yeah. And back to everyone, questions or?
Thank you, Rebecca and Rashad. Liliana, would you like to go next and basically, please share something about you personally, but then also the work that you do. That would be amazing.
Yes, thanks, Nadia, and thanks, Rebecca. I'm Liliana Harrington. I'm a campaigner at Avaz. We're a people-powered campaign movement. And our starting point is petitions, similar to the one that you've all signed and been following on change.org. And yeah, I think I'd like to highlight two things about this campaign that have been really inspiring. It's been one of the most inspiring campaigns I've worked on. And I think one, to follow up on what Rebecca was saying, was it's so important to support these amazing women who have been brave, who have stood up, who have made sure that there's room for democracy and resistance to a brutal authoritarian regime. And by supporting these women, we're making sure that they can go back and rebuild their country, as Rebecca highlighted, but it's also a source of inspiration for other activists facing other authoritarian regimes around the world. as that's increasing everywhere, because the only way that people are going to have the bravery to stand up is if there's a community that's ready to accept them and help them and allow them to continue to do that really important work. So these are some incredible women and men that we're helping, and I'm really proud that I've been able to do that. And the second thing that's really inspired me is the people power in this campaign. It's been from start to finish, Rebecca and Rashad and Nadia deciding to take on the challenge of helping people who couldn't get help from anywhere else. And then it's been just step by step more people power. So Avaz would have never found out about this campaign if all of you hadn't signed the petition and made it bigger and publicized it. We wouldn't have been able to get the bulk of the money to resettle these women if Avaz members hadn't signed a petition and donated. So this is really just an incredible story that's been powered by tiny acts of faith, signatures, small donations from people all over the world. And it's just been incredible to see, even as someone who works on these types of campaigns every day.
Thank you, Liliana. And do you want to say something a little bit about yourself, something personal? If you want to share.
I don't know.
I know
I'm
that's a question from the left field, but something about what drives you, what motivates you to be in this world of campaigning and, getting really important issues to the surface.
Yes. I mean, this is something I've been working on a long time. It's hard to say where exactly it starts, but I think uh it it's this is sorry, Nadia, this is coming out of left field. But yeah, I come from two parents, one of who, really analyzed the world and critiqued everything, and one who helped people make their lives better, a little better every day. And, I think that's where my motivation comes from, is to combine those two and try to take little steps to make the world a better place addressing these big problems. And that's what I've seen in all the people who are involved in this campaign.
Thank you so much, Liliana. Thanks. Frank, do you want to go next?
Well, I've noticed that some of the ladies are also online. Do you want to have them also present?
Yes,
Go first?
but please go first.
Okay, well, I'll be very brief, and I will just commend all the people that have been speaking before me. For those of you who are getting exposed to this group of people for the first time, and that's probably most of you, it's just phenomenal how the can-do mentality of Liliana, Rebecca, Rishad, and Nadia, and so many others have taken us to a place where there is indeed clear and meaningful side to a solution for these people involved. And they've overcome so many obstacles. And yeah, so basically, I'm looking forward to bringing these people, that these people will be brought to safety, and that they have an opportunity to calm down, to heal, and that they get ready to perform the leadership role that is so desperately needed. They are really the brave people who stood up and spoke up, and those are also the people who will be able to play an instrumental role in rebalancing the feminine and masculine energies in Afghanistan when the time comes. Yeah, about me, for me, this is, we used to have Pippi Longstocking here on television, and she had this famous quote, I've never done it before, so I probably can do it. And this project is typically one of those. I mean, where Liliana has clearly exhibited her fantastic professional skills, and also Rebecca and some of the others who've been at this before, for Nadia, for me, and perhaps for Rishad, if I may say so to a lesser degree, this has been new territory. And yeah, I believe we have got, there's so many other hotspots on the globe, be it Gaza or in Yemen or in Sudan or other places where also people are suffering from inequality and the sort of troubles that we have encountered with the Afghan ladies. And I've actually learned two things. One, that the capacity of people to withstand trauma and hardship is so high, and there's so much work to be done for all of us to help and support those. And I look forward to using basically the whole Afghan playbook as hopefully a role model for similar initiatives in some other places where we can hopefully make a positive difference with all of those who want to support us. And just a big thank you to all the people who are currently online who've also made this possible, because clearly without the funds to transport those people to safety and to help them with the assimilation into society, be it in Brazil, Spain, or France, where they have to learn the language, find jobs, find housing, and everything else, ably supported by organizations like Panega, obviously we wouldn't be able to do this. So just a big thank you to you all.
Okay, great. Maria Nouri, would you like to say a few words here?
Hello everyone, I hope you all are fine and doing well. I am Maria Nouri, a human rights and women rights activist and also the founder of Fairness Movement. I am very happy that I am joining today this Zoom meeting. حتی لطفاً بعد از دیگه گپای مرا ترجمه کنین. از وقتی که طالبان افغانستان اشغال کردن، من صدای عدالت خواهی را بلند کردم، در خیابانها برآمدم و همچنان در مکانهای سربسته اعتراضات مدیریت کردم و به دلیل از اینکه ما شکنجه شدیم صدا بلند کردیم. اعتراضات ما توسط طالبان سرکوب شد. زنای متعرضه طالبان تعقیب میکردن، شکنجه کردن، لطوکوب کردن. به دلیل همین تهدیدات تعداد زیادی از متعرضین، ژورنالیست ها و فعالین حقوق بشر افغانستان را ترک کردن و آمدن به پاکستان. امیر ترجمه کنین بعد از این.
Thank you from all of you. She said that I'm Maria Nouri, one of these human rights activists and women activists in Afghanistan when the Taliban took over Afghanistan in 15 August 2021. I, along with other human rights activists, poured into the streets of Kabul and other provinces to chant slogans against the gender apartheid regime of the Taliban. And we were gathered, we were from different classes of the society, and we came together to say no to this oppressive regime. And so the Taliban regime beaten us, put us into the jail and intimidate us. And the situation became worse, that there was no alternative way to live inside the country. So we forced to leave Afghanistan and came to Pakistan. بفرمایید ماریا جان.
تعداد زیادی از معترضین در پاکستان به سرپرست هستند. تعداد زیادشان حتی نان خوردن خود ندارند. در بدترین وضعیت در پاکستان و ایران زندگی میکنند. هیچ سازمان حقوق بشری، هیچ نهاد اینا را کمک و حمایت نکرد. ما به هر طرف صدا بلند کردیم ولی هیچ کس صدای ما را نشنید. ما در بدترین وضعیت قرار داریم. حتی سازمان ملل یونیسیار کیسای ما را به بسیار کندی پیش میبره. ما خودم تقریبا 2 سال است که با پاکستان هستم، ولی تا اکنون ما 3 اینترویو خود دادیم. بعد از این هم معلوم نیست که چی وقت اینترویو دیگر میگیره و ما را رفر میکنه به یک مملکت دیگر. نه تنها ما، بسیاری از زنا مدت 3 سال است، 3.5 سال است که به سرنوشت در پاکستان زندگی میکند و هیچ نهادهای حقوق بشری، سازمان ملل هیچ جا توجه جدی در قبال از اینا ندارند.
Since 3 years, we are living in Pakistan, and a lot of women are living under very extreme conditions. And these human rights activists do not access to healthcare, anything as a refugee, and they are just passing their nights and day with a lot of hardship and difficulties. And no international organization like UNHCR has supported them until now. She giving example of her case that in the past 3 years that I'm living in Pakistan, I have only passed 3 interviews. Like me, there are a lot of women who are stranded in Pakistan, and not any single organizations ask them about their conditions, especially UNHCR, their cases are known, and exactly they didn't know until when the situation will persist. So the situation is there is it's a catastrophe, and the human rights activists are situating in a very horrible conditions.
خب تا بالاخره من امرای احمد رشاد عطایی معرفی شدم، یعنی شخصی است که مانند فرشته نجات به زنای معترض، به معترضین، به فعالین حقوق بشر، به کسایی که زندگیشان واقعا در خطر بود ولی هیچ کس مسئولیت در قبال اینا مسئولیت نگرفتن، هیچ کس انتقال ندادن. به نام زنای متحد سازمان ها پول جمع‌آوری کردن اما اینا را انتقال ندادن، حتی برشان اینا را حمایت نکردن که اینا بتانن امی خوراک روزانه خود برآورده بسازن، اطفال خود تداوی کنن، خودشان کرایه خانه خود بدن، یعنی در بدترین وضعیت قرار دارن. زمانی که امرای عطایی صاحب ما معرفی شدیم، اینا مانند فرشته نجات به ما زنا شد و ما را کمک کرد، حمایت کرد. پروسه انتقال امرای خانم ناجا، ریبکا و فرانک، اینا امی پروسه را آغاز کردن و تا اکنون پروسه جریان دارد.
She said that we are living for 3 years in Pakistan, but not single organization that they are asking from us. And it was Food for Thought Afghanistan and hard work. Rebecca, Nadia, Frank, and you that come ask about our situation. We, human rights activists, was in a very disparate condition. We have from those groups that we have passed 6 months in the jail of the Taliban, but we were still faithless in Pakistan. No one were asking that how is our condition and what they can do for us. We were just roaming in Pakistan, and we even do sleeping in the park in Islamabad, but no one asking. It was, she's saying, me, Rebecca, Nadia, and Frank, that they come and ask about us and introduce us to hospitals and provide some shelters. So it is all the blessing of you people. Otherwise, we were not being able to be in this process, even though we have sacrificed a lot, that we have passed 2 months, 6 months, and we've beaten imprisonment in the jail of the Taliban, but no one asked about us. And we are now very happy from all of us that we, at least we are now in the process that we are relocating from Pakistan. Yes.
و ما اکنون بسیار خوشحال هستیم که سازمان فود فار تات و هارت ورک که این پروسه را آغاز کردن به نتیجه رسیده، یعنی به کسایی را که معرفی کردن به پروسه برازیل، برشان به زودی ویزه برازیل میتونه و انتقال پیدا میکنن. و ما بسیار خوشحال هستیم که داینده هم امی سازمان حمایت کنه تمام زنای معترضین و کسایی که واقعا در خطر از شناسایی شوند و اونا انتقال داده شوند به ممالک امن.
Yeah. And we are very happy from the team from Food for South Afghanistan and Hard Work and other organizations who are supporting these human rights activists to transit them to safer places like Brazil. And she said that we are kindly request that do not stop it only to this woman, 60 women, just persist on this process, because we have a lot of more human rights activists who are stranded in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and in other countries like that. So we are very thankful from all of you that you are stepping in and supporting us during this critical moments that we are right now. Thank you from all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Nori, to bring your voice here, because that's the most important voice in this room, actually. So thank you so much. Frank?
Just one quick comment for the observant listener. They must have seen these little fingers through Maria's left ear. And it is for those little ones that we do this, that they can look forward to a free and prosperous Afghanistan where they can sort of grow into their full beauty and potential.
Yes, we have seen it. It was great.
So just really quickly my part, so that there's also a sufficient time for people to actually ask their questions. I'm Nadia Miller. I was born in South Africa and I'm Austrian by nationality, and I live now for the third time in the Netherlands. I've lived and worked internationally. The biggest thing that I was able to connect to was world peace. After 15 years trying to basically change the corporate world and make it more sustainable. And when I connected to this long-held dream of world peace, I had no idea how to start and how to do it, but I knew it started with me. If I'm at peace and I bring that peace into my family, into my work, well, this is how we get world peace. And well, 10 years later, this is where we are, here together and trying to craft and carve out little pockets of peace that can spread all over the world. And we couldn't have done it with all of your support, all the people that signed the petition, shared it further. I mean, without this groundswell of people like opening their heart for those beautiful human beings that are really the future of Afghanistan. I mean, these are the people that will be able to step in when the Taliban regime falls, because it will fall, and will be able to create something much more beautiful than we will ever have seen all around the world. A united, liberated Afghanistan where freedom and dignity will be there and where there will be compassionate leadership. And this is why we're rooting for it, and this is why we're supporting these women. Okay, but I really want to open the floor now for any questions that anybody has here on the call. And please feel free to also direct your question to any specific person. So just please, if you have any questions, just open the mic and ask. Okay, so we must have been very comprehensive.
Well, let's give it some time. Of course, some people may not be that fluent in English, and they may feel a little apprehension to ask a question.
Oh yeah, maybe there are some German people here that.
Yeah.
All right, let me just see.
They can also ask the question in German or
exactly.
Spanish or French. Deal with anything basically.
That's right. So.
Even Dali.
Sind da Fragen vielleicht auf Deutsch? Ich wäre auch bereit, also ich würde auch gerne auf Deutsch antworten, wenn irgendwelche Unklarheiten sind oder irgendwas, was noch, oder vielleicht einfach auch was sagen. Also fühlt euch frei, euch auszusprechen, bitte. What difficulties do you usually face during your work? Okay. So
how long have you got?
How long have you got?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
So what difficulties?
I'm from Germany.
So I'm going to answer. Hi, Miriam. Nice to meet you. Dankeschön. I'm going to answer first Anastasia, and then I will come to you, Miriam.
Okay.
Fantastic. So Anastasia, so one of the difficulties is like language barriers, time difference, internet connection, emotional and trauma resurfacing, data connection. I mean, there's sometimes days where I'm like, I wake up already at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then people who were awake already in Pakistan since 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's already a backlog of messages. But then we have to wait for Brazil to wake up, right? Brazil wakes up, they get online around like 10 or 12 o'clock. And then, of course, we have, I've asked Liliana, who only comes online in the afternoon, and then it goes into the evening. So we have long, long working days and trying to deal with all these challenges. And as I mentioned, but I think also I would love for Rashad to actually also share the hardship and the difficulties with this kind of work. Because Rashad is particularly also dealing with people on the ground and also the challenges there. So if you would like to share something there, Rashad.
Yes, exactly. Nadia, as you mentioned, I have a lot of problems from 6 o'clock or maybe 5 p.m. in my time, CET, Central European time. When I wake up, I'm receiving a lot of messages from Pakistan, from Kabul, from Iran, Turkey. That's why I have two mobile in my side always that answer responsive.
No, you're only supposed to use one at a time. That's why you have to.
Yeah, and every one of them have their own problem, and I can feel it that these women are a wonderful human being, and they are stuck in a very bad situation. So I feel myself responsible as a human being, and second as a person that I'm living in Switzerland and I'm from Afghanistan. That what can I do for these wonderful women? So I respond to all of them. And unfortunately, in the past, we have a very bad case that one of our team member caught up by the Taliban. Two member of us are there and now in jail at the moment. So I'm also struggling to how to release them. And it is now our festival Eid in Afghanistan. So I'm also contacting with some of the people that how we can release them, but they have caught because of that we are supporting people in Afghanistan to prepare for them visa and to come to Pakistan. So because of that, the Taliban took them that you're working for others. So that's another challenge that we are facing at the moment. And it really take all my energy and so busy and distracted my mind. So yeah, exactly. And the challenge is also about these women in Pakistan and asking different things that they're in different situation. So that's what we are handling and a lot of stress and challenges that we have. But one thing that gave me energy and positive energy that we are here, that what we can do, we are just providing them. And so that gives me energy then to be in the ground and support these wonderful human rights activists. And I'm thankful from Rebecca, Nadia, Frank, Liliana for Maria Nuri, for others that I'm contacting and so supporting each other. That is, I can see the sense of humanism and what that we can see, like Rebecca coming from 1,000 miles near in Geneva to supporting this, or Nadia and Frank or Liliana. I do remember the time that when I asked from when Maria Nuri is here, he asked me that, Rashad, can you provide me some classes for these women in Pakistan? We want to become a peace ambassador for tomorrow of Afghanistan. As Maria Nuri is a lecturer in Afghanistan before the fall of the Republic regime in Afghanistan, he asked me that, Rashad, we are a bunch of women here that we want to be peace ambassadors and work for Afghanistan for tomorrow. Then we are having some difficulties and negotiations and lobbying for women of Afghanistan who are in Kabul and the provinces of Afghanistan, because most of the population of Afghanistan is in the countryside. That you have seen that some of these women just said police a few days ago in the southern of Afghanistan. And Maria Nuri told me that I want to be those voices in international stage. So we want to increase our skills. Then I contacted Nadia. That Nadia was, I do remember that when I started my school in Afghanistan in 2019, Nadia was supporting me in terms of management and some classes. So I get to Nadia, and Nadia asked from Nadia to support these women. And then they came in one session, 100 women. So that is the thing, that we come closer and supporting each other to support each other, be it and play together and come together. So that is what we are doing.
Thank you.
Allow me to add two thoughts very quickly. One, from my vantage point, of course, the challenges that we've struggled with as a group to help the people at hand, the group, they pale into significance with the difficulties these beautiful people are facing currently in Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Yes.
I mean, I know of the details, but still I struggle to imagine the situation they're in. It's like Second World War situations with razzias in Islamabad and Rawalpindi, with people being apprehended when they seek medical help, malnutrition,
Yes.
unbelievable bureaucracy, and particularly also corruption in Pakistan, where they ask top dollars for the most simple documents. It's just unbelievable. And all these beautiful people are sitting there waiting for an outcome. And yeah, so basically for me, this is also a great teaching. And I should also thank Maria and Nori, and by extension, all the people in the group for the lesson that you're teaching us in the West about how comfortable our life is, and that you know, how much we as a human family should stand together and help each other. So that's point number one. And point number two, what I find amazing, and I come from the corporate world and I've got a lot of experience with leadership and team dynamics. If you look at the kind of challenges the team has been facing over the last period, according to the timeline, without any team building or teamwork or whatever, people from completely different backgrounds in completely different time zones, from completely different organizations, they put it together to do what's right. And it has so strengthened my resolve in the need for value-based leadership. And I'll stop right there.
Thank you, Frank. Miriam, would you like to bring your question?
Hello. Hello together. I'm from Germany and I listen the whole time, but it's always too fast speaking for me, yeah? And I can't understand sometimes, the most of the time, really. Ich spreche jetzt in Deutsch weiter, ja?
Gut, ja. Mhm.
Ich habe so viele Fragen, aber ich glaube, das sprengt jetzt einfach hier auch den Rahmen. Ich wollte fragen, ob es möglich ist, dass man vielleicht so eine Art Kurzprotokoll von dieser Aufzeichnung hier versenden kann an diejenigen vielleicht, die auch in Deutschland interessiert wären, zu verfolgen, was eigentlich ganz genau da besprochen wurde. Ich habe gehört, dass es viele Frauen anscheinend gibt in Afghanistan, die gerne noch ausreisen könnten oder würden. Ist das so?
Ja.
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 Okay. Was mich interessiert auch noch, wie sind denn die Möglichkeiten für diese Frauen überhaupt das Land zu verlassen? Also jetzt von Afghanistan nach Pakistan zum Beispiel, weil eine andere Möglichkeit scheint es ja im Moment so nicht zu geben, außer diesem Weg.
Okay. So I'm just going to translate for everybody else. So Miriam was basically saying she was trying to follow, but she couldn't entirely follow it. So she was also asking to send out a short version of this summary of this meeting and do that in German. So I'll take that on, no problem. So, and the question now is, you know, are there many Afghan women and what are the possibilities of them to travel from Afghanistan to Pakistan and other safe countries? And I think that's something that best is answered by Rashad and Maria Nouri, and I will then translate to German.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Rashad,
to what sort of openings are available for women who need to be able to get to a safe third country to do that?
So her question, no. So her question was, how do women that are still in Afghanistan get to Pakistan or other countries? So if you would like to answer that, otherwise I'll just give also a quick few. I'm trying to switch to German now.
Okay, yeah.
To collect your thoughts. Okay, so von Afghanistan nach Pakistan, Sie haben mehrere Wege. Sie können auch nach Iran. Also in Iran gibt es auch sehr viele Flüchtlinge, auch in Tadschikistan. Das sind die 3 Hauptländer, die also sehr viele Flüchtlinge haben. Aber also Pakistan hat 3,5 Millionen Flüchtlinge und Iran weiß ich jetzt im Moment nicht wie viel, aber wir haben jetzt auch ein paar Leute, mit denen wir in Kontakt in Iran sind.
Okay.
Also wie Sie dorthin kommen, da frage ich jetzt Rashad noch einmal, wie Sie dorthin kommen. Rashad, would you like to give an idea? How do they go from Afghanistan to Pakistan actually? What does it take? What are the challenges?
For those people that they are going to, woman or anyone instead of Afghanistan that they go to Pakistan, one way is legally that they go through through passport and visa. But the second way is that they can enter Pakistan and Iran illegally from some entry point that we have frontier between Pakistan and Afghanistan illegally through passing the mountains, crossing taking the pass and walking and go. So there is, because two sides of Pakistan and Afghanistan, they are the same ethnic, speaking the same language, like Pashto. So, and they can enter to Pakistan. And after the 2021, there are a lot of human rights activists and the citizens of Afghanistan enter through to Pakistan illegally and with a lot of difficulties and hardship by passing 2-3 days up to 8 days to go to Pakistan.
Okay. So, haben Sie verstanden oder soll ich
Etwa, also ich gerne noch mal kurz
übersetzen? Ja, also es gibt also für die Leute verschiedene Wege. Einer der Wege ist, ist sozusagen Pass und mit Visa und die kommen dann, aber es ist keine einfache Reise. Oder eben illegal, wo sie dann wirklich über die Berge gehen und illegal ins Land kommen. Und wir haben also einen guten Teil von unserer Gruppe war auch illegal und wir haben denen geholfen, Papiere zu kriegen. Okay. Um ihnen einen legalen Status zu geben in Pakistan, weil sie brauchen einen legalen Status, um also dann auch ausreisen zu können.
Genau, das dachte ich mir.
Okay.
Vielen Dank.
Gerne. There was a question about the getting criminal record requirements. Yeah, so are they needed also for Spain and France? So good news is no, they're not needed for Spain and France. It's particularly cumbersome, you can almost say stumbling block in the Brazilian process. I mean, the criminal record thing has been such a headache from the start already, because people started writing justifications why they couldn't get a criminal record. Then we went to I don't know, Rishad is sometimes, it's just amazing what he sometimes is able to magic out of the head. The connection to actually the ambassador in Tajikistan, who is the former vice president of Afghanistan, and then create criminal records there for the people. But then the Brazilian embassy in Pakistan said, well, we require criminal records from the Pakistan Afghan embassy in Pakistan, which is, of course, Taliban controlled. There was another question that came that was in French, and I'm going to post now the French translation here. Oh, sorry, that was meeting group chat. There you go. And that is the question about across the various organizations involved. How many people are mobilized? Are there any volunteers that are supporting specific tasks? Yes. So the main people you can see here on the call are Rebecca, Rishad, Liliana, Frank, and me. We're the main people who are really involved in this and doing the data organization and the communications that have to happen and all these things. And of course, we have volunteers locally in Afghanistan, also in Pakistan. Liliana has a full team. Maybe Liliana would like to talk also about the team that's supporting you.
Yeah, so we have various parts of Avaz involved as well. And in the resettlement in Brazil, it's a community resettlement process. So there are volunteers who teach English, teach Portuguese to the arrivals, who welcome them into their homes, who help them figure out how to get around the community. So there's also volunteers on that end.
That's right, yeah. And I forgot to mention, Panaga is, of course, Panaga is the biggest part here in terms of people, because they are organizing, they're doing the legal process of, facilitating the conversation with the Brazilian embassy, with the Ministry of Justice, but then also with Pakistani officials in order to get people out of the country. Then the big work starts when people actually arrive, because they need to be settled. They will be settled in different communities, and they are settled with people. They are facilitated to get education. So there's a whole lot of people on the Panaga end, actually, that is really helping with the resettlement process.
And I was just going to add in, Food for Thought Afghanistan, as I mentioned, we just registered in the spring of 2024. So we're a year old, and everything we've done has been volunteer up until very, very recently. I actually quit my job. I was working a job that just let me do things I wanted to do, didn't use all my brain power while I paid my bills. And I did leave my job and traveled to Geneva to be here with Rashad. And we're in the process of standing up the organization properly so that we can, but it really does show like people deciding to do things. And sometimes it's not going to be nobody's going to show up. I mean, I think Liliana has the best job in the entire world, honestly, to be paid to do what she does is, I love that. I absolutely love that because we need to take care of each other. We need to show up for each other. It's not going to be the powers that be that show up and say, oh, here, let us help you. It really is the everyday person, the student. Rashad he's finishing up his master's degree, or his thesis now. And, so it's the student, it's the people in corporate America. It's, the woman in Brazil who first reached out to us has an organization that works with domestic abuse victims. It's all kinds of people from all kinds of places saying, you have to do things to change the world. It's not going to change just by itself. We have to actually do the work. And if I have to do the work just because it needs to be done, then I'll do the work just because it needs to be done, because it really is that important.
So in terms of volunteer work, if anybody on this call would love to help us with volunteer work, please get in touch with us. We do need hands and we need brains. We need both hands and brains. So that would be, and hearts, of course. That really is also part of it. Miriam and everybody else who's speaking German, I'm going to do it. Also ich werde jetzt versuchen, eine kurze Zusammenfassung zu machen von dem, was besprochen worden ist. Hier ist die Frage auch darum gegangen, wie geht es mit diesen Leumundszeugnissen weiter, mit den Polizeiführungszeugnissen. Ja, das ist eine irrsinnige Requirement eigentlich von der brasilianischen Regierung, und wir versuchen halt damit umzugehen. Wir haben jetzt Leute gefunden, die also sozusagen da einen Kontakt herstellen können, ohne dass unsere Leute direkt gefährdet werden. Kostet natürlich wieder extra Geld, um eben diese Führungszeugnisse aus Afghanistan von der Taliban zu kriegen für unsere Leute, so damit wir also diese bürokratischen Anforderungen gerecht werden können. Ne? Und das andere war also die Frage, sind hier Freiwillige, ist da freiwillige Arbeit? Ja, wir haben Freiwillige, die arbeiten. Und wenn jemand freiwillig hier auf dem Call ist, die uns noch helfen wollen, sehr, sehr gerne. Wir brauchen echt Hände und wir brauchen auch Gehirne, die uns damit unterstützen, um die Leute in Sicherheit zu bringen. Okay. Is there any other remaining question? Because I think we're already 10 minutes over. I'm so sorry. Are there any last final burning questions before we wrap up this call?
Ja.
Okay, Miriam.
Wohin muss ich mich denn wenden, wenn ich da euch unterstützen möchte? An Hardwork oder?
Ja, gerne. Also ich tue meine E-Mail-Adresse hier in den Chat hinein. Nadja Müller.
Miriam.
Bei hardwork.earth. Können Sie das sehen? Ja. Nadja Müller at hardwork.earth. Fantastisch, also großartig, super.
Ja, prima. Werde mich melden.
Super, okay. Any other remaining?
Ja, ich wollte noch gerne was sagen.
Bitte.
Also ich bin Günther.
Hallo.
Ich bin Wissenschaftler im Semi-Ruhestand, mehr Ruhestand als Semi. Und ich unterstütze seit vielen Jahren den afghanischen Frauenverein in Hamburg.
Okay.
Ist das ein Begriff für Sie? Oder?
Nein, leider nicht. Nein.
Aha. Die machen sehr viel in Afghanistan, vor allem was Schulen betrifft, Bildung von Mädchen, Ausbildung von Mädchen, etc. etc. Auch Sachen wie Brunnen bauen und so weiter. Also die haben da ganz gute Beziehungen. Und meine Frage ist sozusagen, könnte es interessant sein für Sie, mit denen irgendwie zu kooperieren? Weiß ich, ist vielleicht nicht das richtige Wort. Aber irgendwie doch Wege zu finden, wo dieser Verein Ihnen helfen kann, beziehungsweise die Leute, die vor Ort sind.
Ja, na, auf jeden Fall. Also das würde uns sehr helfen. Also haben Sie meine E-Mail-Adresse gesehen hier im Chat, Nadia Müller?
Nee, aber ich kann mir das gleich angucken.
Ist gut. Also meine E-Mail-Adresse
Ja,
ist
hab sie. Hab
Nadia
sie.
Müller, also
Hab
ohne
sie schon.
Umlaut, bei at hardwork.earth.
Ja, ich habe sie gesehen.
Super. Yeah. So Mr. Günther, he offered to connect us to an association, German association in Hamburg, Afghan Women Association, and they could also potentially help us. So, yeah. Okay, dear people,
So
I need...
quickly, so we've recorded this session. I know that Wolfgang and Lina were joining rather later. And perhaps
Yes.
they can also see the recording to see the piece that they missed before they joined.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think, Rishad was so mindful to actually ask for the recording, which is very good. So I would just, as a last thing, I would like to, for everybody, so for our team, just to say one parting message before we wrap up the call. So Liliana, would you like to say something before we wrap up this call?
Just thank you. Just thank you. Yeah, this is how we change the world. So thank you for being a part of it.
And I also wanted to say I have great respect and admiration for the work you do. I think it is very important. It's moving, and I wish you all the support and the little support that maybe I can provide.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rebecca.
I'd like to share just a short story. The team has heard this before, but I was good friend. I had a friend who was an activist. She marched with Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the Civil Rights Movement. And we were having a conversation. I was asking her what went wrong. How did the movement not carry forward after about the 70s? And she said it was really government interference. It was the violence from the government. It made, they made organizing impossible, the infiltration, murders, all of this stuff. And I asked her, what would have happened if you guys had the internet? And she says, oh, they never could have stopped us. And I've been thinking the whole time, like, this is kind of a test. Like, does the internet make the difference that we can come together to support people facing a violent, oppressive government and help them get through the period where the government usually is successful in shutting them down? And can that make the difference? So what you guys have done in signing and making donations, like, that's part of that. Can we change the way things work now that we can all connect with each other? And I would really invite you. We are a little more than halfway to our fundraising goal. If you are able to still, sign petitions, I know you've all signed, but share them with people. Share the fundraiser. I know Nadia and Frank have things set up. You can also go to foodforthought.care. There's a page set up there regarding this campaign. You can share it with your connections, your support, because in the end, it really is the people. It's the people coming together. And, it's so lovely that we're connected and I can talk to you and we can stand up for each other. I'm very glad.
I am grateful to the kind people who joined this campaign and supported these vulnerable women. We have empty hands, but we have a bold vision for future. Thank you.
Maria, would you also like to say something? Maria Nori.
چی گفتن رشاد لالا؟
گفتن که اگه کدام یک پیام داخل داری میتونی که پیامت بگویی. کدام پیام کوتاه داری چیزی که خود.
خب من کدام پیام خاص ندارم، فقط تشکری میکنم از تمام شما که در مدت 5 یا 6 ماه تمام انرژیتان خرج دادین، یعنی شبانه روز شما کار کردین به زنای افغانستان و قلبا از شما سپاسگزاری میکنم.
He said that I am extremely thankful from all of these core teams that in the past 5 and 6 months working tirelessly to support our noble cause. And we are thankful from all of you.
Thank you, Maria. Frank.
Ich möchte auch noch was sagen.
Ja, gerne, gerne.
Natuurlijk.
Meine allergrößte Hochachtung an alle, die in diesem Human Spirit unterwegs sind. Ich finde das ganz enorm und ja, kann das nur bewundern, wirklich wahr. Also an euch und den Leuten, die mithelfen. Und ich wünsche allen, die Hilfe brauchen, dass ihnen wirklich auch geholfen werden kann.
Ja, danke schön.
Mhm.
So Miriam just said that she also, that Spirit says she's very happy that we are there, and that she really hopes that all the people who actually really need to help will be helped. Yeah. Frank.
Yeah, I would just say we are one big family, not just human family, but if we refocus our collective ambition on truth, integrity, and community, we can shift mountains.
Really, I'm sure.
Yeah. So for me, it's just a final thing to say. Thank you so much for being here, and please keep on supporting us, keep rooting for us, and keep rooting for our beautiful women, you know. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.